Where? Where are all of these missing children? Let's talk reality. Let's talk truth right here on The Warriors. Please make sure you're subscribed to our channel because I want this information to get out there into the universe, across America, across the globe, wherever. I want everybody to hear this. I am taken aback. The media will not talk about it, but we're going to talk about it here in The Warriors. So many kids are missing. You're not hearing about. What is going on? Not only are they missing, there are horrific cases of what's happening to kids. They go missing and they're found unalived. As I guess we have to beat around the algorithms here. Isn't that a shame that I want to give you the reality, the straight facts, the truths, and I'm cautious about certain words I use because it's just not allowed. But things like CSAM, child sexual abuse material, those things were allowed on platforms. But let's talk about what I want to focus on. All of these missing kids. It is the true crime. There is a true war against our children. I'm talking about here in the United States. I do not understand when there are different numbers, but the average is 2,300 a day. That being said, can be runaways, can be throwaways, can be sex trafficked, can be, familial custody fights, within a family. The thing I also want to talk about, that being said, because, people try to fight me on this. I'm not here to fight with anybody or to prove myself or any of that. I'm just here to give you some information, some things to think about. Maybe some things you'll go on your own and you'll research and start learning about. Maybe some things that'll help you become a warrior and will help one child. Maybe it'll be your child or grandchild. I just know I have passion. I am not here for any of that other stuff. So that being said, I want to talk about something very important right now in April of 2025. We recently had the FBI come forward and put out a statement. I am so happy that they did this because we need all the help we can get with what's going on with kids. What they are doing to kids today, it's not just kids are being, missing. When a lot of kids turn up unalived, they have done horrific things to them. Things I can't talk about. Isn't it a shame? But I really can't talk about them because we have algorithms. We have censorship, I guess. And I don't understand it's bad enough to do something to a child, but to do these other things to children is absolutely horrific. And also, we have more women getting involved and we have more couples doing this to kids. I'll be covering a story tomorrow on Crime Stories with Nancy Grace about a little girl who suffered unimaginable horror meeting a guy online that she thought was another peer, same age, young teen, and it turned out to be an older man and his wife, and what they did to her. There really is no justice for this. Why do we have to put them even in jails? I mean, I don't know what we do with them, but these people do not deserve being called people, and they don't deserve certainly, three squares a day, as I like to say. But there's always those lawyers in the background that fighting for human rights, fighting for dignity. It seems our justice system in the United States, something I've been talking a lot about lately, and also in Albany this past week, and also in Washington, the justice system is upside down. It works for the criminals. It works for the predators. It works for them. It does not work for victims, survivors of all of this. We got to turn this around. I know it's a big ask. It's a hard job. We got to start somewhere. We start with talking about it. But I want everybody to know the media doesn't talk about any of these kinds of issues. They should, out of just a PSA, any platform, there's so much today that calls themselves media, right? Everybody should devote themselves to at least showcasing one missing child, right? But I want to talk about mainstream. That's really garbage media. I'm sorry. I've never really said that before. Very early, 4, 5, 6 in the morning, I'd have the TV set on in the background, even the sound down. If I saw an interesting guest or something that interested me, I would turn it up. But lately, all of a sudden, I can't even stand to do that. I can't stand to just look at that Because knowing all these issues, we know what the warriors, knowing the true landscape of what's happening to kids, therefore families. Remember, these events, that's not even the right word, but these happenings, these crimes are against, it's not only the child, it is the entire family. So think about the repercussions in that alone, how that spirals into healthcare, because then we have mental health. Physical, healthcare also with bodies and what happens to them and this and that. Education system. So many have told me they dropped out of school. They couldn't handle it, didn't want to be there. So it's that whole wicked web, that tangled web. And it's allowed to go on. So media should be talking about this. How are we going to unravel this? How are we going to step up? How are we going to empower the public? Because still I get from people, well, I heard it on the news. What news? Well, did you check for yourself? Did you dig around? Well, no, yes, I heard it. I saw it on the news. We cannot trust any of that. We must come together, question, and research and vet as much as we can. And I know it's difficult because there's so much going on the internet, but it's a wonderful source to be reading things, to find out. Even X, it moves so fast that you'll see headlines and things trending. Just what happens to me is it gives me an idea sometimes to follow down that path or do a little research on this, that. But I want to focus on the most horrible criminal acts being done to our American kids. And why is this allowed? I really don't understand. It's not an answer I like. But I want to share with you, we do have to take action. We do have to have resources. Should you think anything, see anything, hear anything, please, always 911, first source of emergency. And we also have to always have track records of everything. But I can't imagine, because the case I'm going to be covering tomorrow with Nancy Grace, this little girl, 6 other people knew she was being held captive for a week. And nobody spoke up. Nobody came to her defense. And they took pictures of her and what they did to her. And I think you know the outcome. She is no more. And that is so painful. A precious child. This is happening, and this is again why the media should be talking about this. Families who have some means, some monies, they usually will hire private investigators and don't ever want to mention this, talk about it. They think for some reason it's embarrassment, it's a blemish on their child. Maybe the child, teenage years, it's rough, stuff like that. But I'm telling you, we are seeing the stories now. I am seeing, especially, it's like 10, 11, and 12-year-olds, what's being done to them. And we know from the FBI who, to their credit, I hope they take this on under the new administration as their number one priority, because I haven't been very happy with them. A lot of you haven't either. It is this child safety. We're going to get the predators. We're going to warn. We're going to tell the public what's really going on, because they put out a wonderful, you can find it on my X, on my Facebook, statement saying, "Wake up, America." I'm paraphrasing here. We have criminal groups, vicious, violent groups. You need to know about it, going after our children. And here's what they're doing to our kids. And here is what you should be looking at. Are they, hiding in their bedroom a lot? Are their grades failing in school? Are they antisocial? Have they changed their look drastically? Are they really just isolating? So kudos to FBI for putting this out and starting, and let's hope it continues. But you are that warrior. You know your child or grandchild best. Kids, let's all come together 2025. This is it. And why the media is not talking about it? Shame on them. Criminal. I'll be talking more about this. Keep an eye out, ears open. Community creates change in each and every day. Remember, wake up and go out and be a warrior.